What is going on, you guys? It's your boy, Sleepy Gary here. We're back with episode 12 of my bullshit rant talk videos. I'm not sure how this one's going to go. I just ate an enormous meal, so the lethargy of digesting probably over 100 grams of carbohydrates and 60 grams of protein is probably going to put me in a catatonic state during this session, but we'll see how it goes. If it gets too bad, I just won't even post it. But I suppose if you're seeing this, you know that I did post it, so couldn't have ended up that bad. Yeah. What's on my list? I already have to go to the list. It lasted like 2 seconds. Like most of you guys in bed. Oh, I'm just kidding. What are some what are some things in contemporary life that irk me, right? Piss me off a little bit. That not even that. This doesn't really make me angry. I suppose that's the wrong way to frame this. Things that I fundamentally disagree with, or that I think are dangerous precedents to live by. And it's not even that I like sit firmly on the opposite side. It's just that I truly want to acknowledge the dangerous precedents of these ideas and how they affect our well-being and livelihood. The first of which is this this very strong connection to materialist items and things, right? I don't know if it's just an American thing or if it's just like a living on Earth type of thing, but we just love having just stuff, just so much stuff, right? And a lot of it's fucking worthless, like just absolute garbage. But you know, it's just we just love having it. And again, I don't know if this is like an American thing or what. But there's just so much stuff. Everyone's got so much stuff, and you know, because of the proverbial dick measuring contest that we're all a part of, that I've mentioned several times. I don't know if calling it that is lowering my credibility in any way. Calling it the proverbial dick measuring contest. It is, you know, modern day social interactions. But truly, that's the way it can be thought of. And if you're a woman, it's again, I think it's the logic is the same. You can draw an analogy to it to whatever makes the most sense for you. Basically, that's the way I see a lot of social interactions go, and it's just dangerous how much we want more shit. Not even like you want these like useless, you know, Wish.com like headphones or something. Like, okay, I understandably, like, everyone can agree that those are worth nothing, right? But even the, you know, like luxury items that like rich people want, or that like it's people's dream to have, like, oh, it's my dream to own, you know, a Mustang G11 or something. I don't know any of these. I don't know shit about cars, so that's not gonna land. Even if you are a car person, but it's like, for what? And I mean, I realize I'm saying that as someone who doesn't really. I mean, I have a certain amount of stuff, and like a lot of my stuff I like, and it would make my life easier. But I think everyone would agree that there comes a certain point where this stuff really is just like a craving that you're just subsiding by having this stuff. And really what it ends up becoming is it ends up just increasing your liability. And what do I mean by that? So let's say for instance you're homeless. Okay, all right, just bear with me here. You're homeless, and somebody were to take all of your possessions and burn them. I don't know, they're gone. All right, your possessions are toast. How much are you really losing, right? I mean, maybe that the Starbucks cup you used to beg or something is now destroyed, so you have to get a new one. That kind of sucks. That was your go-to cup or something. I don't know. Got you the most money. But ultimately, like, the replacement value of those items is nil, and maybe the emotional attachment is what the person's really losing if you burn all their stuff, right? They're losing the emotional attachments they had to the shopping cart and the 80 cans of empty beer or whatever. Again, I'm being very reductive in terms of the homeless person's effects. But there's very limited liability in terms of what's the homeless guy losing. Not much. He doesn't really have much. Versus if, let's say, you were to, I don't know, you're a billionaire and you have all these cars and all this stuff, and you end up going bankrupt. Okay, it's obvious you're going to lose a lot more, right? If you're the billionaire. Well, what's my point in saying this? The things themselves aren't really what the value is about. It's about the emotional value that's associated with an item, with a certain item, right? So the emotional value associated with the Starbucks cup in the same way that emotional value is tied to your Lamborghini or whatever. And really what ultimately ends up happening is if it's something that is worth a lot of money, so it's a big monetary liability, you're just worrying about it all the time, right? Like, you're worried about getting robbed. You're worried about someone burning your house down. You're worried about the insurance, right? You're worried about all your assets under management, of whether or not it's gonna, your kids' kids are gonna have enough money to do something. And, spoiler alert, your kids' kids are gonna fucking blow. Honestly, I have just a theory about people that grow up, overtly wealthy, for lack of a better term. They like, and I'll get into this later, really. In fact, I'll get into it entirely later. I don't want to open the can of worms now. But it's related to self-control. And, I'm sorry, self-control. Self-awareness. Self-control is also on my list, but self-awareness. They just lack all of it. Anyway, you're having all these material items is, think about how much of a weight that is, psychologically. In the case that you're going to lose all of that, right? Versus if it's something you ultimately know is very replaceable. I mean, maybe once you reach a certain amount of wealth, it doesn't really matter, whether your house burns down or not. It's like, but ultimately it'd be just as damaging whether you were middle class, homeless, or a billionaire. It's still gonna be damaging. It's your home, or your car, or whatever the item is in question. But I just find it strange and problematic that there's such a desire for shit, just stuff. Just want more stuff. I want a bigger house. How many rooms can you be in at once? How many cars can you drive at once? And I realize this is like the same argument you've heard 1,000 times. It's like, well, easy for you to say, broke bitch. I was like, all right, relax. All right, I get it. Okay, obviously it doesn't make much sense in the context of some broke motherfucker talking about it. It would only be profound if I was Jeff Bezos and I was saying this, right? Because then everyone would say, like, oh my God, he's so smart, he's a genius. Versus if it's some broke motherfucker, it's like, well, you're just saying that because you ain't rich. Fair, touche. The difference is you ultimately see people that have a ridiculous amount of money that still, in hindsight, go, yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of overrated anyway. It's not that great. I think one of my prominent examples, which again, I hate that I have to use contemporary examples to get my point across, but it'll do, is Mr. Beast, Jimmy. So he's this dude who has an unfathomable amount of money because of, quite honestly, I'm not sure. Just roll with it for a second. Anyway, he basically, like, so he gives away a bunch of ridiculous amount of money during his videos. And you'd imagine him to live in some ridiculous huge house and have all these cars. I think he has a Tesla or something. So it's not entirely like he's got nothing. But he's like, he had the same argument where it's like, it doesn't, there's certainly a lot of diminishing returns, especially when you start having a lot of assets. But more importantly, the weight that it causes on your person to be responsible and be worried about all those all that stuff is often a lot more trouble than it's worth. And I really agree with that. And not just because it's coming from some billionaire dude. I've kind of always lived on that hill. And the side of it that's harder is that, like, okay, well, I obviously still like some stuff, right? I have my computer. If someone were to ruin all my Minecraft worlds, I wouldn't be thrilled about that or something. You could draw a comparison, all day. But so there's certainly a point where having some more stuff provides a certain amount of benefit. But I think the real danger isn't always looking forward to having, some more stuff, right? What's the next car I could get? What's the house upgrade? Because it never really ends. I've said this before. I've talked about the greener grass thing, and it really just plays into that same card where it's, it's just this undying, unquenching thirst for doing better and being more. But especially in the context of material items, it seems especially trivial. Because ultimately, what's the coolest thing you want? All right, you want a plane, you want a Boeing 757 or whatever. You want a big mansion. Okay, like maybe you'll enjoy it for a month or 2 months or something. But after a while, it's gonna start feeling like more of a chore than it would be to just fucking rent a place. As dumb as that is, just the absolvement from control, I think, to me is more tantalizing. I hate that I use that word, but it honestly it fits. Yeah, and so, like, if I had a bunch of money, my goal would be to try and absolve myself from as much stringent responsibility as possible. And this includes all of the responsibility of having a bunch of wealth. So really, the less I was concerned with, frankly, anything, the better, I in my opinion. And that, again, and I see that not as like a strategy for, I don't know, having the best stuff and being the most impressive or whatever, or getting the most clout. Like, that's not the strategy. The strategy behind that is it would maximize my satisfaction and well-being, because I ultimately realize that any amount of more stuff is a slippery slope, because there will eventually be stuff that is gonna not even faze me that I want, and since it won't matter, I'll just keep buying all this shit and just have all this shit, and then maybe I have these small emotional connections to all this stuff, and it's all garbage. But ultimately, that's all what would get severed in the case that it gets compromised. I don't know. I really think the less responsibility and the more freedom of choice that you have, the truly more satisfied you can become. Your upper limit really increases. I believe that, and I don't know. I haven't really had a chance to test out this theory, considering I'm still under the impending hammer of financial insecurity. But beyond that, really, I think what you do with the cards of life can really alter your day-to-day, month-to-month life, satisfaction. I think another strategy to kind of get around this whole thing that people have and try, I guess. And some of this just resorts back to like the meaning of your life, right? I'm not going to go into the meaning of life as an abstract idea, but the meaning of your specific life. And, again, I think without much debate, any reasonable person would be happy to accept that it's whatever you make of it, right? If you decide that your life purpose is to, I don't know, collect Beanie Babies or something, you could really, no one cares as long as you're not, assuming you have, the job and the money to take care of yourself and not annoy anyone. No one really cares if you're spending your life and your internal desire is to collect Beanie Babies. No one cares. Weirdo. But an easy cop out. And I hate that I'm using cop out for this, just because it's very insensitive. Is just to have a kid, pump out a couple kids, and there's your life purpose, for the next 20 years, right? So if you're just kind of lost, just have a kid, and then all of a sudden, oh, now I know what to do. It's kind of fucked up thinking of it in that way. I think a lot of people consider having kids as some like altruistic, like, I want to carry on my legacy. It's like, legacy of what? Your genes that special? Beer drinking and softball leagues. But it, it's really more complicated than that. And it obviously varies individual to individual. But I don't know. That's kind of a cop out. That I don't know where I even got to this topic of conversation. I told you these carbs are hitting me hard. I'm all over the place right now. So I don't know. Hopefully it comes for something good. I got hot. I went to Chipotle. All right. Sue me. Okay, I haven't been in a long time, but was thinking it was convenient. It was later, so it's like one of the solid options that are open. But I got the hot salsa this time. Never gotten it, and will never get it again. I have the taste buds of a stick of celery, or the spice tolerance of a stick of celery, aka none. So that was a painful experience for me. My stomach is still, there's a burning sensation happening beneath my sternum. So if you hear any kind of strange noises and a pause in commentary, you can, make your assumptions as necessary. But yeah. Anyway, I didn't really finish my thought there because I got lost. So we're just gonna move on to the next thing. If it comes back to me, it'll come back to me. A lot of these topics end up roping around to the same shit anyway. So it's not like this isn't a well-structured argument on anything. So if you came here expecting that, you're sadly mistaken. Rich kids suck. Generally speaking, most of them. I think the ultimate challenge is to be a wealthy individual, independently or with a spouse or whatever, and to raise a child that is normal. And okay, begs the question, what do I mean by normal, right? What's normal? I don't mean normal in terms of, income range or what to do. I'm talking about the ability to spend any amount of period of time around them and not want to off yourself, pretty much. I mean, I don't know, the percentage of people with very affluent backgrounds that I've spent time around that struggle to wrap their head around the concept of other people not giving a fuck or not being rich or not caring that they have money or whatever it is. And the insensitivity and just the blindness and arrogance that having a bunch of money always creates is toxic. And I really commend the families that I've seen that produce children that are otherwise indistinguishable from those that did not come from their background. And I realize I'm being totally unfair to a lot of people in this regard, but I think with a large enough sample size and data, not just my word to back it up, a lot of people can understand the sentiment that people that grew up never having to worry about any kind of financial burden or stress, and even like connections wise, like never had to worry about a job, because daddy worked on Wall Street or something. Those people often are just not too easy to be around for any period of time, right? At least for me, maybe they got along well with other people that were. Maybe it comes back to the materialistic thing. I don't really know. I don't even know why I got on this subject or why I have this, but that's another long-standing belief of mine is that I always thought what Shaq said about it was really good. I feel like I've talked about Shaq in these videos more than I ever have in the real world ever. I don't know why I keep bringing up Shaq, but somebody asked him. He's like, "Oh, so." He signed a new contract or something, and this was a long time ago. This was not recent. And they go, "Oh, Shaq, how do you feel that your family's, set up financially, and they don't have to, because of your success as an athlete, they don't have to worry about, their finances." He goes, "What are you talking about? They ain't rich. My kids ain't rich. I'm rich. They're not rich. Me, I'm rich. It's my money. They can make their own fucking money." It's to some effect like that. I'm summarizing. And that sentiment I think was really good, because I think part of the good thing about not being rich but becoming rich is the fact that you became rich and not that you were born rich. So I think the people that amass a lot of wealth through whatever strategy they employ, the ones that are really satisfied are the ones that did it themselves and feel a sense of pride that they earned all that. And the other ones that are always trying to kind of prove that they do deserve it or they did this and that to deserve it, but truly deep down don't really know whether or not that they earned a cent that they boast and spend, are the ones that spend a lot of their time trying to justify their valued existence. Right, versus the ones that, are very aware that they were, functionally worth almost nothing, and they created all their wealth and value themselves, are the ones that feel that rightfully so, feel a sense of pride that they're now wealthy. So it's the poor that became wealthy are ultimately, the most at ease in heart, and I agree with that. I think it's tough to always have that, just because. And again, I don't think money is the great equalizer here, across the board. But you'd certainly be a fool to say it's got nothing to do with it, right? It's a factor in a lot of people's. It's actually some people that's their only thought is just money, which is sobering, and I guess I have a sense of privilege that I get to sit here and think about something other than money. But I also think that's a choice, right? I could be homeless and still have the privilege of not just thinking about money all the time. It's not just a. I think rich people don't even need to think about money, but they do because they lack perspective or something. I don't know. That's kind of good. It doesn't really fit. Whatever. I don't care. But yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. It's I'm on both sides of the coin where it's in some sense I you know, it'd be nice if I could just, not have to, I could literally just do nothing and really contribute nothing monetarily to society and still have a bunch of value on paper. But at the same time, I'm glad that I was more so on this end than the other. But I'm glad that I was, the value that I will eventually, whatever my net worth would become at whatever age, will be entirely done by me. Like I will have created that, right? And there's not really, I can't say thanks, Dad. I mean, I could in the sense that he raised me and whatnot, and Mom too. I'm not gonna forget about that. But ultimately, in the sense that they didn't get, I don't have a trust fund, right? It's very different. I guess in that sense, it's like nobody's ever self-made because somebody had to help them to get there. But that's not really fun to think in those terms, because then it's like, at what point do you just give somebody credit, right, and stop trying to extrapolate it? Well, if you I don't know. People just make ridiculous. You could make ridiculous assertions based off that, and I'm just kind of reading more into it than you should. But anyway, I think I had the optimal, at least for me, and I think everyone should believe this. So whatever position you are truly in, I think you should undoubtedly believe that it was the best one for you. I believe myself that I was in the best position to learn the most and to get the most out of my upbringing, and I'm in a position now to take it for a ride, I guess, for lack of a better word. I don't know. It seems at some point this discussion will get pretty shallow. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. This is a topic. So, there's a lot of lively discussion on blowing up on TikTok or blowing up on social media, and gaming and algorithm. There's a they say there's a very predictable way that you can have success on a platform like YouTube. And that begs the question, could I make this channel blow up if I wanted to, right? If I dedicated a certain amount of my time and my learning ability to trying to blow up the channel, could I, right? I can be as ignorant as I want in saying I think I could, right? But part of what the point of this is not that's not my purpose for doing any of this. I think one thing I have learned about myself and my life experiences is that I value almost to a fault one's authenticity, right? And I think the issue with playing into the algorithm's hands and doing what the people want and what's going to be watched, and it's like I could title this video, "Oh my God, Dream is so fucking ugly," because that was like big news that just came out. Is that authentic to anything that I care about, right? I've been all these videos I've been talking about how much I don't really give a fuck about any of that because it's all shallow and stupid. And how contradictory would it be for me to just jump on whatever bandwagon's hot and make some boobs in the thumbnail, and because I truly value being authentic. And so that means that you could also say, well, you can grow this channel and still be authentic. I could, but there's a give and take. I think the more I try and play into growth, the less I can play into my authenticity, because my authentic self doesn't give a fuck about having a gajillion subscribers. Yeah, and if you gave me the option, I would say, would I rather do this talking to 3 of my friends or three of my friends plus 500 random people who could, leave comments and such. I'd probably say the plus 500, right? Just because it's just to see, it'd be interesting, to say the least. But is that a priority in me doing any of this? Absolutely not. No. I'd have totally different approach to all of this if I was actually trying to create a channel. So, the moment I ever, start kind of sacrificing bits and pieces of my authenticity, because I don't think it doesn't happen. It's not a switch. It can be a switch, but more often than not, it's a gradual decline into sacrificing authenticity, or selling out, or whatever you want to call it. Then I ultimately lose the whole purpose of me making this channel, right? The true purpose of making this is, one, it's an excuse for me to play Minecraft. Okay, that's no secret. Obviously, every single one of my videos is Minecraft related. I like the game. Two, it gives me a chance to practice some skills that I think are useful in today's day and age. Creating videos is a useful skill. Really in any context, there's a lot of settings where a video helps and goes a long way. So being able to do that is nice. And then something like this series that I started, it's about trying to articulate myself on a whim, right? Because maybe you have scripts a lot, but generally most of your conversation, I would reason to say a large, vast majority of your conversation is unscripted. I would hope. Otherwise, you're a fake piece of shit. But being able to talk well, unscripted, I think is a skill in itself. You hear some people that, I don't know, maybe I'm around it more than you all are, but people that just can't fucking talk, save their life, right? They're giving a presentation, and it's the worst thing ever. They turn the being natural and normal and conversational to negative 6,000 because they make no fucking sense. They're rambling on and on about God knows what. I realize this is ironic coming from me, this is precisely what these videos are. But the whole point of this is not a presentation for a job. This is not a class. It's not a final project. This is me practicing. And there's no shame in practicing, because ultimately you got to start somewhere. And admittedly, some of these videos a little rough around the edges, right? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but ultimately, not only do I enjoy making these, but it's great practice. For the maybe at some point later when I need to, that was stupid. At some point later when I need to, actually give some kind of presentation and talk just off my head, translate my ideas clearly into words, without overly abusing, or ums, which I frequently do in these videos because I'm talking about very abstract concepts. There's very many layers. Yeesh. There's a lot of layers to this stuff. There's levels to this shit. And it's difficult to remain straightforward and on topic and very logical and precise when the very ideas that I'm discussing are very abstract in nature and really difficult to pin down. So it is tough, especially for me to use that as justification, given that I'm kind of doing exactly what I'm trying not to do. But again, this is just practice. This is really all it is. And it's also it's a nice log. I can look back on this in God knows how many years and just be like, I wonder what I was like at, my age now. I'm 22. I wonder what I was like at 22. Pull up this video. I can watch it, right? I wonder what my world used to look like. Pull up my Let's Play videos. Then I can watch it. It's this great documentation of it all. So again, the point of this channel isn't blow up, because I feel like I've, especially on YouTube, it sends me these automated emails like, oh, tips to improve your performance, with thumbnails and this. And then like everyone's like, oh, it's easy to be an influencer. You just got to follow these steps and take my master class. And there's a certain amount of pressure I feel to, well, all right, grow my channel, like, earn my subscribers. And I'm like, that's not the whole point. I don't give a fuck about that. Like, that's not the point of me even doing this. That's not my purpose. And the moment I make that a focus, I think I'm just not going to do it, because I'm at heart, I'm a perfectionist. I want to do things at my top clip every single time, which has caused a lot of problems for me, admittedly. If you can help it, don't be a perfectionist and just be okay with your B+ work, which I'm trying to get better at. But the moment I try to go after making original, catchy, niche content, I'm gonna lose every purpose, every little fragment of meaning behind the point of me making these videos. So it's important to me that I remain authentic. And if I'm ever gonna blow this channel and grow up and whatever, or blow up this channel or whatever I meant to say right there, it'll be with my authentic self. It won't be with some fake ass motherfucker. Hey guys, welcome back to my video. Today I'm gonna be making porn in Minecraft. Some ridiculous. I mean, like, some of the shit people come up with. I mean, I gotta give them props. It's creative. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen some pretty wacky, ridiculous things, but a lot of them just make me question why I still exist. And I mean that in the nicest way possible to these creators. And I don't really have any names in particular, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Like, what on earth are you thinking? What was your thought process behind this? You just saw like a couple buzzwords in the news, and we're just like, all right, I'm just gonna like mash these together and make a video in a Fortnite game, throw something sexual on there for the, those the pubescent kids running around YouTube, and it'll blow up. Fair enough. I guess it's formulaic, but at the same time, it's shameful. If I had to make videos like that, if I was forced to make something like that, it would be shit. Which is why I think, since I'm able to edit videos. Granted, my video editing skills are not professional. So far from professional. If I wanted to, I can make something look professional. But the videos on here are literally, I don't even edit this video, for God's sakes. It's uncut, right? Start to finish, one clip. I don't even put it in a video editor. But if I wanted to, let's say, be a video editor for something, and I had to crop together their shitty content, or make wedding videos, I don't give a fuck about that. That is so meaningless to me. Why would I ever care about someone else's wedding and some other bullshit, right? It's like, it's great, but like, I would never want to do this as a job for someone else making their shit videos, right? The only way I want to do this for myself, making what I want to do. And ultimately, this goes back to like the freedom and control aspect of it. I'm free to just, I've done this like 5 or 6 times now. Just stop making videos. I'm busy, not gonna make them. See ya. And there's no advertisement pressure. No one gives a fuck, because it's my shit. No one cares. To me, that's really the beauty in this, is that truly I don't care if anyone watches this. I don't think people that would watch this for any period of time, I don't think they care. There's nothing riding on this. I think the stakes being low and the responsibility being absolved from me is a very nice feeling. It's good. I think it's I don't know. I think it's good, and I'm glad that I don't have any bureaucratic strings, so to speak. tying me down, making me do one thing or the other. I'm taking a sip of water, so if you could question what this noise is, it's me drinking water. This gives me the idea of, so I talked about like potential of, systematically or finding a way to I guess in this example, blow up a YouTube channel, or this is really just any way to grow a business or to grow any kind of enterprise or entrepreneurial endeavor. A big part of it comes to finding some kind of niche. So essentially, what are you or your brand, the Michael Jordan at, again, for lack of a better word. And again, I could try and hunt for some specific niche within the Minecraft community if that's not already saturated enough. And really what I guess one reasonable argument against my assertion earlier was that what if, I could change myself into a person that, because ultimately more bubbly attitudes get more viewers. The fact that I sound like Squidward most of the time, I'm monotone, I speak low undertone voices is not, kids are gonna be scared if they click on my video. Especially with my fucking stupid ass intro. But what the fuck am I doing up here? I don't even know what I'm doing. But yeah, like, could I change into this like bubbly, lively person who liked making, kids content of, sexual Minecraft experiences or some bullshit like that. I mean, I don't know whatever niche I could end up finding. That I remember now. Whatever niche I could end up catching with my content and, eventually monetizing into any kind of successful business. I don't doubt that I could do that if I wanted to, but I don't want to. And I realize it sounds like I'm the kid. Well, I don't want to, it's just that I really think, again, that I'm really sacrificing my authenticity. Even if I change into a person that is okay with doing that and selling out and being bubbly and lively and having a lot more enthusiasm and energy because it's more advertiser friendly or whatever. I don't really, that's not true to myself. And I realize I'm saying, like, I'm doing this under the assertion that I could change, right? So there's a certain amount of, how much are you involved in change? How much can you be involved in your own growth or lack thereof as a person, right? And I think this is something under highly contested debate. How involved is your own psychology and self-awareness, how involved is it in the growth process, right? Do I make a conscious decision to change into a bubbly person that could be more advertiser friendly or something, or more public figure friendly, again, for lack of a better description. And again, I think you can absolutely make conscious efforts to change yourself, right? Like, absolutely. I think that doubting that is totally false. But to a certain point, it's like, okay, well, then that kind of begs the question, okay, well, so let's say hypothetically you could change into any kind of person that you wanted, right? Well, what's the best, right? Or what's like, the best in terms of money or the best in terms of whatever. And I really think it's based off of your personal, like, your life experiences. So, for me, I think with my life and my perspective on the world, I don't, bubbly and lively and all, hey guys, oh my God, that just makes you want, oh God, speaking of advertiser friendly, it just seems so burdensome. And again, I feel like I'm really just battling with myself right here, so I apologize if it sounds like I'm really taking this nowhere. This is deep internal psychology battling here. But you know, it should I try and change into some other person who's, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. It's hard. It's hard to really battle with this, right? Because on one sense, it's okay. You want to be true to yourself. What the fuck does that mean? Who are you? Who am I? I don't know, right? These are all valid questions, right? I don't have a slide bar of all these traits that I embody of a certain percentage, right? That way it'd be easy. Do a little math, tell you exactly who I am, and depending on what my goals were, I could just adjust the slider and some, machine learning algorithm would take care of the rest. That's not how it works, right? No one really tells you exactly who you are. You don't really know who you are. You kind of have to figure that out yourself. I just think me with my life, my experiences, my background, I've never been one for the bubbly attitudes. To me, it all sounds like fake shit. I've always appreciated people that were honest, if not brutally honest with me, with whatever it is that they're doing. I'm not saying you can't be bubbly and happy and brutally honest, but more often than not, I feel like they're hiding a lot, or if they're just stupid and they just lack any kind of awareness of how fucked up the world is sometimes, right? And I think some people that tend to always see things in a positive light. I don't know. Do people agree with this? I really think that it's obviously a lot easier to focus on the bad things, but there's a lot of stuff that in the world that is just like bad and wrong, and it's easy to ignore it. But I think it's more true to our existence and to ourselves individually to address that there are very, very bad things going on in the world. And to me, being all bubbly and optimistic about everything and never having a bad day, I wake up every morning and I just can't wait to go slave away at a job for someone else. I said that as if it was a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's. But that's ultimately like what it is, and I think it's for some people in a lot of scenarios, and even for me probably at some point, it's probably a great gig, right? Can't get better than that, right? They're gonna give me way more money of stuff that I'm actually doing, and all I have to do is just like, make up some bullshit about a meeting every once in a while, and they're gonna give me this much money. Sign me up, like little to no work and a bunch of money. I'd be an idiot to turn that down, right? But ultimately, thinking it's something that it's not is a problem. I don't really know where I'm going with all this. I'll be honest. I've totally lost my train of thought. The carbs are killing me. Remind me never to eat a meal before I do one of these. I normally do these on an empty stomach, and I think a lot better on an empty stomach. I don't know if that's weird, but I 100% think way better on an empty stomach. So the fact that my stomach's pretty full right now is probably what's causing me to go all over the place. I don't really know. I'll probably revisit all these topics at some point later because I don't feel like I really grasped and covered them in the detail that I had hoped. Only because, my attention is split between the game and this conversation, but ultimately it's a lot of what I'm doing here is relatively monotonous, so it's fair. I suppose the last thing I can talk about in my last however many minutes I'm going to give myself here. What percentage of people in the world do you think would you classify as NPCs? That to me is an interesting topic, and I feel like everyone knows what I'm talking about here. So to a certain extent, you walk around and some people just like can't be real, right? They're just like, you're literally a bot. Like you're just not real. Like there's so many just people that are just bots, or not even that they're not real, because I'm sure at the heart of it they all have their own desires and intentions and everything else. But But ultimately, they're so caught up in the day to day, the minute to minute, the hour to hour, that they ultimately act, think, respond, function, work, sleep, eat, everything in line with what a bot would do, really, or an NPC. So it's like, it's not that we're taking their individuality away from them, right? I'm not. If anything, they've voluntarily exiled their individuality in exchange for a monotonous, comfortable, relatively unchallenging life. I don't know. What percentage do you think of people do you think fall into this category? I'm gonna go with 75. I'm not including everyone. This isn't a specific subset. This is college graduates, parents, old people, young people, everyone alike. I'm giving 75% are completely inoculated by their daily to-dos and not to-dos, that they don't even realize that they're living life. They're just kind of doing the ins and outs of everything. I love to hear percentages, right? Is it higher or lower? I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. Honestly, I think I'm being pretty generous with 75. I think you can make a reasonable case that it's like 90. Or some people are just they're aware of what they're doing, but they just don't care that it's what they're doing is inoculated into nothingness. Really, it's not serving any greater function towards their whatever their aspirations or lack thereof are. I don't know. I guess if you have no aspirations, to do anything at all, which I feel like, who am I describing there, right? Everyone. Maybe I'm being shallow and thinking that everyone has some kind of aspirations, but I don't know. Maybe you give up on them, and then what, right? Then I guess you have nothing better to do than just to live day in, day out, and just doing, I guess I think of the quote that Rick called Jerry. He was like, "You're just a random clump of molecules blowing around, whatever the wind blows you," or something like that. I don't remember what the fuck it was. God, I'm fucking all over the place. Brain feels like mush. I'm blaming it on the flu shot. Got a flu shot. Had about 4 or 5 hours of good work over the last week. The rest has been shit. So I'm blaming the flu shot. I'm just kidding. Flu shot was fine. Left arm was a little sore. My upper body work last 2 days has been bullshit, but yeah. Anyway, I'm probably just gonna begin my cutoff sequence here. Although it normally takes me a few minutes to fully shut the fuck up and end the video, but yeah, I'll eventually revisit a lot of these topics because I do think they're very, very interesting. If you've watched through the video and you have a thought on one or more of these that you'd like me to address, a specific idea or something I didn't really get into, because I feel like I left a lot of stones unturned here. I'd love to hear your thoughts. More importantly though, give me a percentage. What percentage of people day to day, not even that you interact with, of all people, just are bots? Or would you classify as a bot? Is my definition of bot wrong? Or NPC, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. Anyway, I'll wrap it up here. I'll be back soon with more content. So thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.